Welcome. Hi, I'm Julie Harlan. I am a realtor with Jakeway Realtors, and I am here today with Marcia Miller of Marcia Miller Realty. Marcia, thanks so much for joining me. We're here to talk today about the Fair Housing Act, but tell me a bit more about you.
Well, I have been a realtor, honest to goodness realtor, since 1990. Yes, it was 1995. So it'll be next year, it'll be 30 years I've been in the business. And I've also been connected with Fair Housing through serving on the board of directors about 10 years ago of the Fair Housing Center. And I'm currently the chair of the Fair Housing Center.
Wonderful.
So that's my background.
Wonderful.
I taught fair housing for about 10 years here at GKAR.
So you're the perfect person then for us to talk about this.
Perhaps.
So discrimination based on an individual's sexual orientation or identity are now considered types of sex discrimination, and they're prohibited by the Fair Housing Act, according to the 2021 memorandum issued by HUD. The Fair Housing Act of 1968 did not specifically address sexual orientation or sexual identity. It had been left up to the individual states to fill this gap to provide the much needed protection for the LGBTQ plus community. In 2023, Michigan expanded the scope of the protection to include protections for the LGBTQ plus community. Marcia, as realtors, we certainly do not want to violate the fair housing law or even make a buyer or seller feel uncomfortable. With your 30 years in real estate and background in fair housing, what do you suggest we consider?
I can start with a personal story. I was raised in northern Michigan. My dad had a feed store, and as a little kid, I worked for him there. And until I got out of high school and went to college. He was adamant about how we treated our customers. There was mostly farmers, of course, and it did not matter how much I knew about how much money these people owed my dad.
Sure.
And it didn't matter what they wore or what they drove or what kind of farm they had. We were to treat them all respectfully and equally, and we did. And so I transfer that to my life when I left Fairview, Michigan. It astonished me how people treated each other in different arenas. I went to college and then on to work life, ended up in Mississippi working for several years there. And just the attitude that people had toward each other and the disrespect.
Sure.
So I apply that now to my business. It's just simply good business to respect each other. And if we think we're going to get in trouble with how we treat each other, that kind of concerns me, because if you treat everyone equally and with respect, then you shouldn't be worried about getting in trouble with fair housing.
That's right. That's right. I think that whether we're working with buyers or sellers, we all want to make our clients feel comfortable. I strive to make sure that they feel confident and cared for, and that's regardless of their gender, their identity, or their sexual orientation.
We're here to sell houses. What does it matter what their sexual preference is? What does it matter how they identify themselves? They're entrusting us to take care of their need to either buy or sell a house. And we should value that trust and respect it. And so that's our goal, is simply selling a house, not to decide what they should believe, what values they have that we might think they should have, and that we have that we think they should have, which are not always the best. So let's just be about selling houses and forget all the other information we feel we have the right to gather, because we don't have that right.
Yeah, it's true. That is a great perspective. Going back to fair housing law, no bias or discrimination can be made based on sex, color, race, marital and familial status, nor gender identity and sexual orientation. What can us realtors do to prevent violations?
I think the best thing we can do is just simply be educated about what is and is not proper. But with the same respect people and stop asking questions about their personal needs. Ask a lot of questions about what house they want to buy or sell. Take a tour of the house. You don't need to know anything about their personal lives unless they decide they would like to share that.
Sure.
And that is all in trust. We are being given a trust by people to look after their needs. And we're honored to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
That's how we should act.
What would you suggest to someone who feels that their rights have been violated?
Go to the Fair Housing Center. Do not be the enforcer. I cannot stress that enough. It's your job to tell them what the law is. In fact, you can pick up we have some available. The Fair Housing Center has a great brochure that you could hand to your buyers and your sellers. Make those available to you, but refer them to the Fair Housing Center here. They cover, I think it's a 6 or 7, I just recently got back on the board. I think it's a 6 or 7 county area.
Okay.
And they're not there just to enforce the law. They're there to educate. That is the main mission, is to educate people what the law is, but hopefully make people want to treat each other respectfully. That's the bottom line.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. This was good information.
I have been honored to do this, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yes, thanks.